a different formation, and also distinguish between the different sounds of the alphabets. This is very, very, very important, isn't it? How do you spell different words? A, B, C, D. Each one is being spelled in a different, with a different sound. We call it as the phonetics, isn't it? In Telugu, కొన్ని పదాలు మనము మామూలుగా పలుకుతాం. సే లైక్ అమ్మ, అరటి, ఆవు. కొన్ని దీర్ఘంగా పలుకుతాం. ఆవు, ఆకు, ఊయల, ఇవన్నీ దీర్ఘంగా పలుకుతాం, isn't it? And then for some words we stress on it, isn't it? అత్త, అమ్మ, మాకి ఒత్తి పలుకుతున్నాం. And then there are so many words that are spelled silently in English, isn't it? So all these differences the child has to know before reading and writing. I hope it is clear now. So in order to read or write, the child must attain or distinguish between the different sounds of the alphabet. Not only that, the child must be able to relate each sound with the appropriate alphabet. This is very, very important. సో ఏ అక్షరాన్ని ఎలా పలకాలి అన్నది ఒక అవగాహన పిల్లల్లో రావాలి, isn't it? Just now, like I said, so I have given so many examples. So ఆకు అనగానే వెంటనే the child has to recognize that it is dirgham and then he has to write accordingly, isn't it? So audio visual association takes place. Annadi mundu sound baga vinipista. Then we introduce the shape of the letter. Then we reinforce through writing, isn't it? So these are the different steps. So as soon as the child hears, I can give you one example for audio visual association. At one time, Amma is feeding the child by taking him outside his house in the veranda by showing a cat. So here the child saw the cat, the child heard the sound of the cat, and so every time he wants to see the cat. But when one day he could not see the cat, but he heard the sound of the cat, mew, mew. So immediately he recognized that it is the cat, it is sounding of the cat. How does he know that? Because he has already heard the sound of the cat and he's already seen the cat, and then audio visual association took place, and he has been given a number of experiences with the cat by his mother, and so it was imprinted in his brain. In the same way, the alphabets, first you have to introduce the sounds of the alphabet. So the basic thing the child should know is to discriminate between the different shapes of the letters, different sounds of the letter, and then only the association between the sound and the visual part of the words or the alphabets takes place. The child must also be familiar with the use of books and have an interest to develop the skill of reading. This is very, very important. With the emergence of these gadgets, mobile phones, TVs, etc., etc., most of the children are addicted to these mobile screen time activities rather than book reading, isn't it? Which is very, very, very unfortunate. So please encourage the children to read the books and give them opportunities for the skill of reading the books. So it is not enough if the child learns from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H to Z, but they should be able to learn the skills like shape and sound matching, discrimination, finding similarities, sequential ordering, which all helps in laying a strong foundation for reading. Now, as I said, it involves cognitive skills, isn't it? What is the foundation for the language comprehension? Understanding the spoken language and building vocabulary, isn't it? So, understanding pertains to intellectual skill or the cognitive skill, isn't it? So, this we call it as comprehensive skill. So, understanding various words and phrases in spoken language and what are all the activities, conversations, stories, and songs, and vocabulary usage, learning the meaning of new words and using them contextually, conversations, stories, and songs. And then auditory discrimination, recognizing the differences in the environmental sounds and spoken language sounds to eventually distinguish and pronounce letter sounds clearly. So, what are all the activities? Identifying the sounds of objects and animals, providing opportunities through stories, songs, and conversation. So, language acquisition involves the process of cognition as well as the physical development. Let us see. So, cognitive skills involve comprehensive skills and then vocabulary usage and then auditory discrimination. So, receptor skills should be enhanced. Receptor means he is receiving, he is listening, and then understanding, isn't it? So, understanding various words and phrases in a spoken language. So whatever it is the language, maybe his mother tongue or any other language, he should be able to understand various words and phrases and learning the meaning of it and using the language that is understood in his own words contextually, isn't it? Meaningfully. And then recognizing differences in the environmental sounds, like the one I gave the example of a cat, isn't it? So make the children listen to as many sounds in the environment as possible and spoken language sounds to eventually distinguish and pronounce letter sounds clearly. So this is where the preschool teacher uh, sets an example for the children, sets as a model for language development, vocabulary development, where her language should be clear and there should be clarity, which should be with some expression, and then meaningfully she has to communicate with children so that the children can pick up the same language, isn't it? So all these are the intellectual skills that are associated during language or comprehension. And then visual and structural awareness, focus, recognizing shapes, symbols, and the structure of words. So, as I told you earlier, um, the child has to acquire many skills like visual discrimination, isn't it? Realizing that spoken language consists of sentences, sentences consisting of word sounds, and also words consisting of letter sounds. So this we call it as the phonological awareness. So realizing that the spoken language consists of sentences, words, word sounds, and then letter sounds, isn't it? So how they are being spelled, whether దీర్ఘంగా పలుకుతున్నారా, మామూలుగా పలుకుతున్నారా, ఒత్తి పలుకుతున్నారా, whether ఏదైనా word ని silent గా పలుకుతున్నారా, all these minute, small differences, discrimination, the child should be able to pick up. How does he pick up this skill? As I said, during stories and conversation sessions, these stories, these activities help the child to listen intentively. I also explained about listening carefully and listening intentively. Isn't it? నిశితంగా వినడం అన్నది అలవాటు చేసుకుంటారు. So that this helps the child to increase their span of attention, concentration. So when these are increased, they were able to grasp immediately whatever the teacher says, isn't it? They will be able to pick up the word, sounds of the word, and the letters associated with that word, and then they are able to understand it, and next they are able to express and they are able to use contextually and meaningfully. So this is the process. So phonological awareness is very, very, very important. And next is the picture reading. Understanding the meaning of the shapes, symbols, and signs, being able to describe the pictures. Picture reading another very, very important skill for a pre-reading activity. So before reading alphabets, before reading numbers, before reading the print, the child should be able to describe the picture, what is there in the picture, isn't it? So suppose if you show a picture card where the monkey is on the tree, you can ask so many open-ended questions, isn't it? So what do you see in the picture? Is it an animal? What is the monkey doing there? Where is it? Is it on top of the tree or below the tree? What is the monkey doing? Why it is looking sad? So many questions you can, open-ended questions you can ask the children. So describing and reading the picture, why the monkey is sad, why the monkey is happy, it may not be written there, isn't it? But they were able to read the emotions that are associated in the picture. So what else are there in the picture? There are big trees, there are small trees, and can you name the tree? And n number of questions you can ask so that the children will be able to identify what is going on in the picture and describe the pictures in their own words. So providing opportunities to look at attractive pictures and picture books and learning the meanings of various symbols and signs. So these activities, picture reading activity, you should give to the children. And then comes the visual discrimination. So recognizing differences between various shapes to eventually compare the shapes of different letters. So during pre-number skills, you will be introducing so many shapes, isn't it? So here also the letters are having different shapes so that when the teacher asks him to identify the letter, the child should be able to spell it out immediately and instantaneously. And not that he should begin from ABCD, isn't it? When a teacher asks to show the P letter in from the alphabet chart, the child should be able to directly put his finger under P, on P, isn't it? Instead, the child will begin from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and wherever the finger ends, he will say it is P. That is a wrong thing, which is rote learning, and in a rush to spell, he may do mistakes. So that is not so. P anangane P anali. E anangane E chubinchali. The same with the case of Telugu alphabets. So there should be activities to identify differences between various shapes and pictures. So for this, మనం ఏం చేస్తున్నాము, దృశ్య తేడాలు అనే యాక్టివిటీని పిల్లలతోటి మనము చేయిస్తున్నాము. వాట్ ఈస్ దృశ్య తేడాలు? If you can see in so many magazines, you'll be having children's under children's section. ఈనాడు ఆదివారం you'll be finding తేడాలు కనిపెట్టండి, 8 తేడాలు కనిపెట్టండి, 3 తేడాలు కనిపెట్టండి, isn't it? 2 pictures will be given and there are minute differences between the 2 pictures. So we'll ask the child to identify the differences between the 2. So అక్కడ ఏం జరుగుతోంది? The child is seeing the above picture, he is finding the whatever the differences are there in the second one, isn't it? So by seeing, by visualizing, he will be able to identify the differences, which helps later in visual discrimination of the letters. Chusara? So alphabets lo చిన్న చిన్న తేడాలను గుర్తుపెట్టుకొని ఇది పి, ఇది బి, ఇది డి, ఈ మూడిటికి చాలా మైన్యూట్ డిఫరెన్సెస్ ఉన్నాయి కదా. అలాగే అ, ఆ, ఇ, ఈ. సో చాలా మైన్యూట్ గా ఉంది షేప్ ఆఫ్ ద లెటర్స్ లో, ఇజంట్ ఇట్? సో ఈ దృశ్య తేడాలు అన్న యాక్టివిటీ వేరియస్ షేప్స్ ఆఫ్ ద లెటర్స్ ని ఐడెంటిఫై చేయడానికి ఉపయోగపడుతుంది. సో ఆల్ దీస్ ఆర్ చూడండి టెక్నికల్ గా హౌ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఇట్ ఈస్, యూ కెన్ రియలైజ్. And then only comes introduction to the print and literacy. Yes. So here the focus should be on understanding how books and written language work. So awareness of the written form, realizing that spoken words have a written form and understanding its use in daily tasks, names, storybooks, timetables, calendars, labeling, etc. Isn't it? So demonstrating the use of script in daily activities through names, storybooks, timetables, calendars, and labeling. సో అంటే భాష అన్నది రాతపూర్వకంగా కూడా ఉంటుంది అని మనము తెలియజేస్తున్నాము పిల్లలకి. సో అవేర్నెస్ ఆఫ్ ది రిటర్న్ ఫామ్, భాష అన్నది రాత రూపంలో ఉంటుంది అని చెప్తున్నాం. సో ఎక్కడెక్కడ ఉంది, వే టు యూ ఫైండ్ ఆల్ దీస్? ఎవ్రీవేర్, ఇజంట్ ఇట్? సో డైలీ యూస్ లో, డైలీ టాస్క్ లో ఫైండ్, వి కాల్ దెమ్ బై దేర్ నేమ్స్. సో నేమ్స్ ఆన్ దేర్ బుక్స్, names of the storybooks, timetables, calendar, labeling, isn't it? So awareness of written form, and then print awareness. This is an important skill for the children. Print recognition, isn't it? So what is print awareness? Understanding that we write from left to right and top to the bottom. So when you open a book, you find that there is a print from top to bottom, isn't it? But how do you read? There is a sequence for it, isn't it? We start from left to right, and then from top to bottom we go. This sequence should be taught to the children. Pointing with a finger while reading the storybooks aloud. Children observing the teacher while they write. This is very, very, very important. And then interest in books, developing an interest in books, turning pages from right to left, holding books in the correct orientation. Chusara, any skills involve ayyundo? It is not just that giving them a book and then ask them to write. No, no, no. Before that, there are so many skills and processes that are involved, isn't it? So develop interest in books for the children. So how do you develop? You can set up a book corner. You can set up a book corner where you can keep or organize story books as per their ages, isn't it? A one-line story book for 2+ or 3+, and then a simple explanatory story books for below 2 years children, and then stories with some explanation for 4+ and 5+ children, isn't it? So encouraging children to use them. This is very, very important. Just now I said that unless you develop this interest, the children are getting addicted to the screen times and gadgets, isn't it? Which is not at all recommendable. So developing an interest in books, we turn pages, isn't it? By holding it from the right uh, bottom corner, we hold the page and then we turn it, isn't it? So turning pages from right to left, holding books in the correct orientation. మామూలుగా పిల్లలకి తెలియదు కరెక్ట్ వేలో ఎలా పట్టుకోవాలో తెలియదు. We can see that they are holding newspaper upside down and sitting by the side of father or grandfather. They will also imitating the grandfather, like reading, isn't it? Something they will be murmuring. So, holding books in the correct orientation, mukachitram vaipu pattukovodam ravali. That is the important skill involved in this. So, the meaning of introduction to print and literacy is understanding how books and written language work, isn't it? So realizing that spoken words have a written form, that is an important thing, and understanding its use in daily tasks. So how is it useful to us, isn't it? So you can read a storybook, you can read a timetable, you can read a calendar, you can read labeling the objects, all these things. So it is, the child can understand that it is useful in his daily life. And so also print awareness. So understanding that we write from left to right and from top to bottom. And then developing interest in books. Now, the next focus is on developing the muscle control and coordination that is required for writing, manual, writing with a pencil, isn't it? So most of the parents or most of the teachers, they insist or they they force the child to write even though they are not ready for it, isn't it? So what are all the skills that are involved in writing? That is, children can only hold a slate pencil or a pen properly to write once they can grip various small objects with their fingers. This is very, very, very important. సో ఫస్ట్ లో మనం ఏం చూస్తాము, పిల్లలు గదలాగా పట్టుకుంటారు పిడికిలతోటి, isn't it? So they hold it like that and they scribble on the paper. ఇలా పట్టుకుంటారు, isn't it? ఇలా పట్టుకొని రాస్తూ ఉంటారు. Later on, they use 3 fingers. Later on, these 2 fingers, isn't it? So that is the sequence. But you have to look for whether the children can hold a slate pencil. So for that activity, for this fine motor development, you have to give various activities like pegboard, then blocks, small toys, and then threading the beads, making balls or figures with clay where they can manipulate, so that these fine muscle coordination and eye-hand coordination and fine muscle development takes place. So all these activities, so kabatti, all creative activities which they do with their fine muscles, kada finger muscles toti ఏదైతే చేస్తారో కంటికి చేతికి సమన్వయం, and then these fine motor development definitely helps in holding the slate pencil or the pencil. ఇది రాందే they cannot hold a pencil. సో ఎంత కొట్టినా తిట్టినా అది వచ్చేది కాదు. సో దానికి రావాలి అని అంటే ఏం చెయ్యాలి మనం? we have to provide various activities for the children for this fine motor development, కదా. పిండి ఆర్ డవ్ ఇస్తాం, డవ్ ఇచ్చినప్పుడు వి ఆస్ దెమ్ టు మేక్ సమ్ స్మాల్ బాల్స్, ఇజంట్ ఇట్? సో అది చేస్తున్నప్పుడు హ్యాండ్ యాంటీ క్లాక్ వైజ్ తిరుగుతుంది, క్లాక్ వైజ్ తిరుగుతుంది, ఇజంట్ ఇట్? when we ask children to tear the paper, so what are all the smaller skills that are involved? So with 2 fingers they are able to tear the paper, isn't it? So fine muscle coordination and development and control takes place. So threading beads, small hole ఉన్న beads తోటి గుచ్చమని చెప్తాం, and then scribbling చేయమంటాం. All these are definitely helps in developing writing manually. So it is not that you jump and then ask them to write, they will not write, isn't it? So there is a sequential development for all these. So fine motor development, children can hold a slate pencil or a pen properly to write once they grip various small objects with their fingers. Deeniki gaanu, what are all the activities? Playing with blocks, pegs, small toys, beads, and then making balls with clay, dough, or paper, or dabbing colors. And then eye-hand coordination. So, developing the synchronization between visual input and hand movement. This is very, very important skill అండి. Eye-hand coordination. So, eye-hand coordination లో ఏం జరుగుతుంది? Suppose they are threading the beads. Beads. ఆ beads లో హోల్ ఎక్కడుంది? కంటితో చూస్తూ అదే చూసుకుంటూ చేత్తో దారాన్ని పూసలో గుచ్చుతారు. సో ఐకి హ్యాండ్కి కోఆర్డినేషన్ అన్నది జరుగుతోంది, విచ్ ఇస్ వెరీ 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 ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో దీనికి కూడా వాట్ ఆర్ ఆల్ ద వేరియస్ యాక్టివిటీస్? థ్రెడ్డింగ్ బీడ్స్, tearing paper into specific shapes, placing seeds on shapes, lacing and filling colors. And then next is the drawing shapes and pictures. Next comes the drawing part. The ability to draw various shapes and pictures by looking at them or through imagination. So free scribbling, drawing, or a running blackboard, drawing different shapes and pictures from observation or imagination. All these activities helps them for their imagination and to draw shapes and pictures. So what is the physical development that is taking place? It is fine motor development, it is eye-hand coordination, and then drawing shapes and pictures. So from all these activities, children develop the skills to compare letter shapes with their corresponding sounds, eventually learning to read and write. So a common question usually you can ask, if the child is able to draw something, draw a house or a circle, isn't it? Why can't they write the letter A or A? The reason is because they are familiar with that subject, isn't it? They are familiar with their house or they are familiar with the frog. Children know what a house or a frog is through personal experience and use. So to write they must understand what it represents and where it is used. So recognizing that the sound is in words like amma, arati, atukulu, isn't it? Addam, agipulla, etc., etc., where they recognize that the beginning sound is a, a, a. So we have to familiarize the child with the sound before introducing the shape of the letter. So next comes the introduction of the alphabets. Here, before the introducing the shape of the alphabet, sound introduction is very, very, very important, isn't it? Show objects or pictures starting with the target letter and break the word down into sounds to help the child identify the beginning sound. Just like if you are introducing a letter, so introduce the words starting with a, as many words as possible to the children. Very familiar words. Amma, arati, addam, annam, akka, anna. So all these sounds help the child identify the first sound, beginning sound. So అమ్మాలో మొదటి శబ్దం ఏంటి? ఆ. అద్దం మొదటి సౌండ్ ఏమి వినిపిస్తోంది? ఆ దం, ఇజంట్ ఇట్? సో ఆ సౌండ్. అన్నా, అన్నాలో ఫస్ట్ మనకు వినిపించే సౌండ్ ఆ. సో ఈ విధంగా ఫస్ట్ స్టార్ట్ విత్ సౌండ్ ఇంట్రొడక్షన్, షో ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ ఆర్ పిక్చర్స్ స్టార్టింగ్ విత్ ది టార్గెట్ లెటర్. అన్ని పిక్చర్స్ చూపిస్తూ develop conversation and then introduce the beginning sound of the word. That is very important. Next, once the sound is introduced, use interactive games to reinforce it. So చెప్పేసి ఒక్కసారి చెప్పేసి వదిలేయటం కాదు. ప్లీజ్ ఎవ్రీవే మీరు బ్రెయిన్ డెవలప్మెంట్ కనుక వెళ్తే గివ్ ఎన్ నంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్సెస్, isn't it? A variety of experiences to reinforce the concept, isn't it? So in order to reinforce here, we are introducing so many interactive games with the children. So sorting games. So picture cards konni ichesi addam కార్డు, అమ్మ కార్డు, and then arati కార్డు, and then అటుకులు కార్డు, అగ్గిపుల్ల కార్డు అన్ని దాంతో పాటుగా mix other cards of different sounds like illu, and then uduta, and then uyala. So you mix it and then ask the children to group the objects by their beginning sound. So ఆ శబ్దంతో వచ్చే శబ్దాల కార్డులన్నీ కూడా వేరు చేసి పక్కన పెట్టమని చెప్పాలి. సో సార్టింగ్ గేమ్ అన్నమాట. సార్టింగ్ బై ద బిగినింగ్ సౌండ్. నెక్స్ట్ టెలిఫోన్ గేమ్. టెలిఫోన్ గేమ్ కూడా మీకు ఏమవుతుంది? విస్పరింగ్ వర్డ్స్ టు ప్రాక్టీస్ క్లియర్ ఆడిటరీ రిసెప్షన్. మనం చెప్పుకున్నాం ఇందాక, లిసనింగ్ ఈజ్ వెరీ 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 ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో ఇక్కడ కూడా మేక్ ద చిల్డ్రన్ సిట్ ఇన్ ఎ సర్కిల్, విస్పర్ వన్ వర్డ్ pertaining to the sound, whatever the letter you have to introduce. Like అన్నారనుకోండి, అద్దం అని చెవిలో చెప్పాలి. So that child will be passing on to the other child sitting beside him, whispering in his ear. And finally, the last child should say it aloud. So this is a telephone game. So all these games, sorting game gaani, telephone game gaani, lekapothe ఈ కార్డ్స్ ద్వారా సౌండ్ ఇంట్రొడక్షన్ తో చేసేవి కానీ, ఇవన్నీ కూడా what is the focus here? The focus is connecting the spoken words to specific that letter sound. సో బిగినింగ్ సౌండ్ ఏముందో దాన్ని ఫోకస్ చేస్తున్నాం మనం ఈ గేమ్ ద్వారా. సో మొట్టమొదటిగా బిఫోర్ ఇంట్రడ్యూసింగ్ ఆల్ఫాబెట్స్, ద సౌండ్ ఇంట్రొడక్షన్ ఈజ్ వెరీ 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 ఇంపార్టెంట్. And next comes the shape introduction. So for shape introduction, use large flashcards or write the letter in a large format to introduce its visual structure. So ఒక పెద్ద కార్డు మీద అక్షరాన్ని ఆ అనే అక్షరాన్ని రాసి పిల్లలకి చూపించండి. And then encourage children to find the specific letter in the world around them. So ఇక్కడ కూడా you can introduce the shape of the letter through various games, isn't it? Like run and find, and then matching game, my friend, tambola, fishing game. All these games encourage the children to identify the letter. So here the focus is identifying the physical form of the letter within the environment, isn't it? సో ఆ అన్న పదంతో శబ్దంతో పదాలు ఏమేమి ఉన్నాయో, చుట్టూర పరిసరాల్లో ఏమేమి ఉన్నాయో కూడా గుర్తించమని పిల్లల్ని అడుగుతాం. అండ్ దెన్ నానేస్తమాట, తంబోలా, వేర్ యూ కెన్ ప్లేస్ ద తంబోలా కార్డ్స్ on the floor or on the slate or a board, and ask the children to place one dice or one seed on the letter you spell, isn't it? So all these are various interactive games that help to reinforce the shape of the letter. So indaka sound focus chesamu, and now we are introducing the visual recognition, isn't it? So once you You need not rush for the child to introduce, isn't it? You can take 2 or 3 days and make the play all these interactive games and reinforce the shape of the letter. And next, moving on to the writing part. So, writing could a director, we are not giving all the worksheets to the child or asking him to write in his notebook, isn't it? Here also there are various steps involved. Tactile learning. So, placing seeds or beads along the outline of the letter to memorize its shape. So this is very, very important. So yesterday we have discussed, isn't it? So you can take a sandpaper card and ask the children to use their 2 fingers, forefinger and the middle finger and trace on the alphabet by spelling the, by sounding the letter also. So here tactile and then they are they are able to spell the sound of the letter also. And then you can give various activities for this tactile learning, isn't it? So you can place, you can draw the shape of the alphabet on the floor in front of each child and ask them to place the seeds as per the directionality. So here you can give the direction of the alphabet. How you trace the alphabet, you can give the directionality. So as per the directionality, they will be placing the seeds and then spelling the sound of the letter. And then you can give various activities uh, dabbing or a spray. Yeah, and then you can use small leaves to paste on the shape of the letter. N number of activities are there. So after this is becoming a strong reinforcement, then you can give the pre-writing patterns, practicing vertical lines, curves and slants that make up the letters. So here next part comes the uh, strokes associated with that letter. Next comes the tracing part. So connecting dots to form the complete letter shapes. So till this you can give for 3+ children, isn't it? And then tracing and the outcome, uh, independently writing can do 4+ or 5+ children, isn't it? So tracing, connecting dots to form complete letter shapes. The outcome is children who master these steps will be able to read and write meaningfully shortly after entering the primary school. As soon as they enter the primary school, you can see the teacher taking classes for 45 minutes and then in 1 or 2 days, the lesson will be over and the teacher will be giving the dictation, isn't it? So when she says that atta, write atta. So how many of the children will be able to write correctly? Atta, they write. Ata, they write. Isn't it? So what makes the difference here? The sound they hear, the experiences they got, and then the introduction of the shape part, and then the thorough reinforcement of the writing skills in various steps. All these steps, if you go progressively like this, there will not be any mistakes. Otherwise, the same mistakes will be continuing even though they go for a master's or then even a PhD. Isn't it? So, developing writing mechanics, the focus is on the physical act of forming letters through tactile play. So, all these you can see, all these are through joyful activities and playful activities. We are not just forcing them to write formally, isn't it? Through various activities. Um, కాగితాల్ని చిన్న చిన్నగా చించి పెట్టుకోమని చెప్తాము లేదా కాగితాల్ని ఉండలు చేసి పెట్టుకోమని చెప్తాము So on the shape of the letter, they paste all these beads, isn't it? Which is an activity, joyful activity. And then చిన్న చిన్న ఆకుల్ని గమ్ పూసి ఆకారం మీద పేర్చుకుంటూ రమ్మని చెప్తాం. There are n number of activities you can do to introduce the shape of the letter for the children, isn't it? సో ఇక్కడ కూడా మళ్ళీ డైరెక్ట్ గా ఇవ్వట్లేదు చూడండి. టాక్టైల్ లెర్నింగ్ అండ్ దెన్ ప్రీ రైటింగ్ స్ట్రోక్స్ ఇస్తాం. తర్వాత ఇప్పుడు ఆకి సంబంధించి చెయ్యి ఎట్లా తిరగాలి, and then it comes from anti-clockwise, isn't it? So the hand should move from anti-clockwise direction. So the strokes should be something with a start with a semicircle in anti-clockwise direction. All these strokes you can give. Then only they will master the shape of the letter. So how do we comprehensively do all these things, isn't it? So communication, using conversations, using stories and songs to build language and understanding, and then the auditory skills, identifying the animal and object sounds to improve listening, visual skills, using charts, pictures, flashcards, and to recognize the shapes and differences, and then to develop literacy interest using storybooks to foster an interest in print, script, awareness, and the importance of writing. So the summary of this, all this is the holistic approach. So our focus is we have to integrate all these skills into our daily learning, isn't it? So in a preschool timetable, the daily timetable should have definitely conversations, stories, and songs to build their language understanding, isn't it? Through story, they learn so many new words, vocabulary development takes place, and then through songs, they learn new words, isn't it? And then in conversation, they use the new words, isn't it? So, and then you have to improve their auditory skills, isn't it? For auditory skills, there are various activities, isn't it? So, like you can do, you can say one letter, ba, and ask the children to identify objects that are related to the sound of ba in the classroom. Say, for example, board, isn't it? Bottle, bag, and then book. All these are b sound, isn't it? So that is one game. And then you can make the children stand in a circle and you can say some sound like sa. So as they go on running in a circle, and then ask them to stop and say one sound, sa. So those names who are beginning with sa sound should raise their hands. So you can go to them, ask their name, and then verify whether the beginning sound is sa or not, isn't it? So various games are there. And then you can make a different sounds in front of the children, like tapping on the table, and then clapping, and then making sound with the hand, making sound with mouth, isn't it? Different sounds you introduce. And later you ask them to close their eyes and then tell the sound without opening their eyes. So here the focus is on ears, sound, isn't it? So when you, as you make a sound, they will say it is clap, it is tap, isn't it? So like this, various games are there, activities are there. You can go through all these activities. And then the visual skills using charts and pictures. Just now I suggested that drusya tedalu, isn't it? So using charts, flashcards, pictures, ask them to recognize what is happening, picture reading, isn't it? So using storybooks to foster an interest in print, script awareness, and the importance of writing. So let us now go into detail one by one. What is meant by phonological awareness? Understanding that the words we speak contain small sounds like rhymes, individual words, and letter sounds is called phonological awareness. Yes. So this phonic practice is essential for children and it helps them to decode letters into their respective sounds. So, this is a very prerequisite for the child to read unfamiliar words by themselves. So, what are the benefits of this phonological awareness? What is there? So there are in the early years, this is very, very, very important. The systematic technique of learning other languages like English, and then the ways of correct and effortless pronunciation, and then the relationship between the letter and the sound, isn't it? So, how children can improve their vocabulary, the ways to spell any word effortlessly, and it also improves their comprehension skills. So, children need to learn the letter sound relationship because language uses letters to represent sounds. Phonics gives information to help children learn how to read. So, children learn the sounds that each letter makes and how letters change a word's meaning. So, in order to develop phonological awareness, there are n number of activities. Children love rhymes, isn't it? So rhymes, some rhythm words, and then letter sounds. Recognizing that speech can be divided into various sounds is extremely useful for children who are about to learn letters. So, generally, when children lack the awareness that spoken language consists of sentences, and then sentences consist of words, and words consist of letters. చూసారా వాక్యము వాక్యము పదాలు పదాలు consists of అక్షరాలు. So creating this specific understanding is the goal of phonological awareness training. So, here, while many children learn to read without explicit phonological awareness, some face significant difficulties in reading and writing because they cannot hear sounds correctly. ఎప్పుడైతే బిడ్డ సరిగ్గా సౌండ్ని వినలేకపోతాడో దెన్ దే విల్ నాట్ బి డిఫికల్టీస్ ఇన్ there will be difficulties in reading and writing. So through this awareness, all children learn to pronounce the letters, words, and sentences accurately. So enabling them to read clearly and fluently in their future grades. అందుకనే కదా నేషనల్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ ఆఫ్ ప్రొఫిషియన్సీ ఇన్ అండర్స్టాండింగ్ the language and numbers. Nipun Bharat, isn't it? So, Varna Nirmana Avagahana, the focus is the foundation of understanding the spoken sounds. So, realizing that our spoken language is made up of smaller sounds like rhymes, words, and syllables. So here our concept is to train children to understand that speech can be broken down into distinct sound units. So our goal is to bridge the gap, helping children recognize the structure of the language, sentences, words, letters, and then sounds. This is what we call it as phonological awareness, Varna Nirmana Avagahana. So the foundation of understanding the spoken sounds. So why it is important to recognize the sound? Why is it critical for the literacy? Why we are discussing under language or literacy or pre-reading skill? So some children struggle with reading and writing in their later grades because they cannot distinguish or hear specific sounds correctly, isn't it? So accurate pronunciation is very important. Developing this awareness helps all children pronounce letters and words properly from the start. So long-term success. Building this foundation ensures that in higher grades, the children can read text clearly, exactly as it is written, and meaningfully. That is very, very important. When you ask most of the children to read, suppose one letter like uh, say Hyderabadu, isn't it? So they read it as Hai da ra ba du, and there is no meaning in it. They have to combine, isn't it? So that fluency should be taught to the children properly from the start so that there will be no difficulties while they go for higher grades. And then introducing rhyming words. So this is very, very, very important. Children like rhymes, isn't it? Rhyming words. So, since rhyming words typically end with the same sound, repeating poems and songs that feature rhymes is an effective way to introduce this concept to the children. So, here the process involves repeating these verses until children are familiar with them. So, highlighting the rhyming words and asking children to identify the similarities in their sounds. So once they understand the pattern, teachers can conduct activities to help children identify rhyming words independently. You can start with the body parts itself, isn't it? So, vala, kala, and then, uh, isn't it? So many rhyming words like we see in the rhymes, isn't it? One, two, buckle my shoe. Three, four, shut the door. Four, door, isn't it? To shoe. So all these are rhyming words. So children enjoy these rhymes and spell correctly and understand the meaning of the rhymes. So introducing rhyming words, prasa padalu, we say in Telugu, isn't it? So this process involves repeating these verses until children are familiar with them and then highlighting the rhyming words and asking them to find the identify the similarities in their sounds. That is very, very important. So, rhyme picture chart. You can introduce the concept of rhymes by creating a chart with pairs of pictures whose names have the same ending sound. So, ask the children to name the two pictures shown and describe how the sounds are similar. Through this, children gradually realize that these words rhyme. Once they understand, you can conduct matching activities using these picture cards. So, Prasapada Jata Pattika, matching cards with rhyming words. So, visual tools for rhyming. Here, the focus is using imagery to connect the sound patterns. So, use a chart featuring pairs of images where the object names end with the same sound, isn't it? Here it is Telugulo, we say kukka, and then it is nakka, ka, ka. Similar sound, isn't it? And then eluka, chiluka. So ask children to name the pictures and identify the similarity in their sounds to help them discover rhyming independently. So next comes let them all identify on their own. And then interactive matching. Once the concept is understood, have the children match different picture cards based on their rhyming sounds. So ask them to do it independently, the interactive matching cards. And then comes the rhyming with the body parts, isn't it? So here the teacher points to a body part and the children names it. The teacher then provides a word that rhymes with that part. Tala, vala, ala, kala, isn't it? Kallu, ullu, pallu. So all these are rhyming words. Mada, vada, toda, cheyyi, veyyi, nuyyi, poyyi, goyyi, isn't it? So kalu, palu, alu, valu. So once the children are comfortable, the teacher names the body part and the children must come up with their own rhyming word. So it is okay even if the children's words are nonsensical, sensible, as long as the rhyming is correct. Though it doesn't have any meaning, if there is a rhyme in it, you can say that it is a correct word, isn't it? So, body parts. Here the focus is combining physical awareness with phonological awareness skills. So all these are activities. It's an activity called finger on the nose, isn't it? Here developing active listening and response. So all the children will be sitting in a circle and the teacher recites a rhyming poem or a song while the children listen carefully. Every time a rhyming word is mentioned in the poem, the children must touch their nose with their finger. So this continues until the end of the song to reinforce sound recognition. So in this activity, the children are focusing on the sound and the rhythmic words and then doing the action by keeping the finger on the nose. Next comes the word and sound segmentation. Understanding that a word is a systematic sequence of letter sounds is the foundation for learning words, isn't it? So, by segmenting word sounds into individual letter sounds and pronouncing them clearly, children learn to read words accurately. Pada Sabdha Vibhajana, Arati, Arati antam. So what are all the sounds involved? Arati, Arati. So this segmentation of the word sounds into individual letter sounds, isn't it? A, Ra, T. And pronouncing them clearly, children learn to read words accurately. So, pada, sabda, vibhajana, word and sound segmentation we call. That is very, very important step. Next comes the language structure. So here the focus is on breaking down the sentences, words and the sounds. Segmenting sentences into words, learning to identify individual words within a full sentence. Isn't it? ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మనకి రైమ్ ఉంది కదా అమ్మ అందమైనది అని ఉందనుకోండి మదర్ ఈస్ బ్యూటిఫుల్ కదా ఇట్ బికమ్స్ అమ్మ అందమైనది సో బ్లెండింగ్ దీస్ వర్డ్స్ ఇంటూ సెంటెన్సెస్ కంబైనింగ్ సెపరేట్ వర్డ్స్ టు ఫార్మ్ ఏ కొహరెంట్ థాట్ ఇజంట్ ఇట్ అరటి తోటకు వెళ్ళింది బికమ్స్ అరటి తోటకు వెళ్ళింది వెంట్ టు ద బనానా గార్డెన్. So here what we are doing, segmenting words into letter sounds, dividing a single word into its phonetic components. Amma is divided into a-ma, amma. So from segmenting sentences into words and from blending words into sentences and then segmenting words into letter sounds. And